What's happening, everyone? Welcome into another episode of TBQ Football. Today, I'm your host, David Gillespie. Joining me on the mic, we got a casualty on our hands to the right
already.
Okay, this dude just sends in the private chat. He's like, I think I just breathed in some fucking beer, dude. Just going down the wrong pipe. So, you know, if we can get an EMT here ASAP, that'd be nice. Because I don't know if George is going to make it. I don't know.
Probably
if he's
not.
Make it,
no, to be fair, probably.
It's a wrap, man. It's a wrap. Nah, folks, I'm so excited to see y'all, folks, on a new platform. Folks, we are on a new platform. Is the graphic show? Oh, that's on the. Oh no, did I add that to the tick? Oh, I totally screwed up. Whoopsie daisies. Done goofed on the first fucking show on the new network. Jesus Christ, David.
It happens. It happens. Hey, what's up, boys? I'm seeing the chat. What's up, Courtney? I see Streets in the chat as well. TK, our boy Tim. How's it going, y'all?
So good to see y'all. It's just incredible, man. It's really incredible. I'm so happy to be a part of this network. Folks, in case you didn't know, we are moving to a different home, so to speak. We still have our previous home. Like, we still are going to be uploading content to our regular channel, but our live shows, our new home, our new family is the Bloodline Entertainment Network. And let me just tell you, folks, it could not have been a more welcome, a warmer welcome, that they could have given us. Honestly, it has been nothing but absolute, but an absolute joy to be joining their network, to be meeting these people. They're first-class people, first-class individuals. We had a kick-ass show the other night with Streetsathon and Tim King on their Roto Slappers episode, talking some fantasy football, doing a little bit of mock drafting. I don't want to say I won, but I will say I won because that's how fucking egotistical I am. And
I've got a weird feeling you saying that. Nearly every other person would disagree with that, but that's, I think, because we're all, to be fair, I feel like, to an extent, everybody who does something like this can actively sit down in front of their computer, a camera, and a microphone, and just talk about something like they're an expert for, you know, however long in one time. We have to be a little conceited, right? We've got to be a little bit of an asshole to do this.
Of course,
right?
Dude, we're so conceited. We think people want to listen to us spew the shit we do every week on the microphone on a YouTube show and say, you know, we're that entitled. Like, people want to listen to us, you know?
It's not that I don't just do this for me to stroke my own ego. I do this for you. I do this for the people. I do this to get the real information out into the world.
I just got fucking goosebumps hearing George say that, because that is right. That's hitting the nail right on the fucking head. Okay. That's exactly.
And that's why I'm running for president. Thank you.
That's that's why I nicknamed this the People's Champions Podcast. You know, is it a mouthful? Yeah, but you know what? I think we've earned that title. Okay, I don't want to
until Nick rolls up in here and starts claiming he's like the God King of Connecticut or something like.
Oh yeah, well, that dude. I mean, I'm honestly shocked he can fit inside the frame, and that his fucking throne isn't like elevating him so high, because you know he sits on an egotistical throne.
You've seen Game of Thrones, right?
A little bit. I'm gonna be real.
Like you've seen the Throne of Swords, correct?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. I've seen like half the first episode. That's it. You know,
like that's Nick, but with like his like.
It's like down at one for Nick. You know?
No, I was gonna say like. Nick's is like similar in stature, but his is with like pre-purchased like fantasy football trophies like that are obviously etched in like with like a year or so. He just said in the group chat that he's coming on, and we're just going to be absolutely destroying him for no reason.
I mean, I think I can count on one hand how many times Nick has shown up on time on this show. Like you know. And here we go. Speak of the devil. Look who joined us. Look who joined us right here. It's the people's champion himself. You know, that's what he would say. I wouldn't say.
Hoorah! As the Miz would say.
Nick, random question. This is gonna sound like completely random.
What's that?
Where'd you get that shirt?
Marshall's.
I was about to say it's either Marshalls or TJ Maxx, because I'm very sure I have like a shirt that's almost exactly the same. It just doesn't have a collar.
I'm cheap when it comes to clothes.
Bro, come on, dude.
Courtney saying, "What's up, calling you double mint number 2?"
Out there,
I'm chocolate, but I'm not mint.
Okay, can we do me
summertime.
one favor, okay, and not mention TJ Maxx on this show because it's going to give me like Vietnam caliber flashbacks of working there, okay, and them locking me in. I mean, that's basically been my nightmare.
We didn't talk about this on the show last week, did we? I thought that was afterwards. I'm pretty sure it was after.
It was definitely after.
I gave a little bit of a mention. This motherfucking store locked me in it 9 years ago, and I'm still trying to get over my PTSD of just the alarm ringing in my head. It's basically been my nightmare for the last, I want to say about 8.5 years running since I last worked there. And so, if I'm a basket case, you blame those motherfuckers, okay? You blame those motherfuckers, Shout out to Greg for being not Greg, but Derek for being the worst boss imaginable. He was also the worst fucking imaginable boss you could ever have, I mean, he was just one giant sigh of a person, just sighing the entire fucking time.
Word of advice, don't trust people named Derek. Gotcha.
Hey, someone say that's a good life lesson,
Is his name Derek? Like, did I miss something?
Don't get good life lessons in here, please.
We got it. We got it. That's our MVP, man. Showing up on the show last week, man. It was so kick ass. Got so many people in the chat right now giving us a warm welcome. Justin, Courtney, Tim.
Put the ones up, baby.
Clark, yeah, that's their thing. Put the ones up, baby.
It's our thing, not their thing.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have a habit.
Come on, man.
I know.
Come on, bro. It's your first show on the Bloodline Network. And already messing it up.
Here's the thing. In my defense, I refer to myself sometimes in third person. So it's just a habit. Okay?
There's the ego again. That's the ego I was talking about. I mean, look.
Listen, David's going to only put up a certain amount of shit throughout this show, okay? You better pump the brakes if you're dealing with
He's
Mr.
only
David.
put on performance, folks. He'll fall in.
Don't call him Mr. Gillespie. That's his dad.
No, that's my brother actually.
Is it?
My brother's initials, his initials are MRG. And mine are DRG. So I'm the doctor in the
doctor.
That's
not better.
No,
that's not better.
There's Dre, and
you're
there's
definitely
Dave,
not no doctor. Don't go.
No,
you're definitely no doctor, bro.
If you are, I need to make sure that you've got an actual valid license. I need to look that up.
I think someone
I will report you to the FDA. Brother, I will report you to the FDA right now. Don't think I won't.
I think someone would probably, my first patient would probably flatline within the first 3 minutes, I would say. 3 minutes, and they'd be like, what the fuck did you do? It's 3 minutes, dude, on the job.
That's my question. Keeping in mind, I actually work in the medical field.
Yeah. Don't hire me, George. If you want a good life lesson.
That is impressive. 3 minutes. It takes more than 3 minutes for the systems to boot up, let alone
It's crazy, man.
And this is why I'm the star of the show.
There's that ego. It's so we got to leave. You know what I need to do?
I need turn the camera around. Show us the Game of Thrones style, the throne that you have, just in your room somewhere.
Where's my ice cream sandwiches?
Yeah,
in your freezer, probably.
Fucking ice cream sandwiches.
Wait. Didn't you get a box last week? Yeah.
No, but again, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone. They helped us out with so much, getting us live, getting all these promos you guys have created, whether it's the graphics, the videos. I mean, just the communication. It's so professional. It's so incredible. And this was a match made in heaven, honestly, for us to be able to join you guys' team and for it to be our team now. There you go. I got the pronouns right. And I just am so happy to be a part of this. And you guys are really just so awesome. You guys are really I just want to say that sincerely. You guys could not be any better than what you've been. It's been y'all are the real MVPs, man. There you go, man. If I had a drink and not, nothing because I'm poor as shit.
Don't worry about what's in the cup, all right? Don't worry about what's in the cup.
Tap water.
Yeah, I can't even afford
it. Whoa.
Wait, time out. What's wrong with tap water?
I'm too good looking to drink tap water.
That's just code for moonshine.
For
you just don't want anyone to catch on to the moonshine drink that is
definitely not a drunk.
It's not Craig.
I was going to say it's not Craig.
Yeah, that's Craig's MO.
You're lucky
right
he's not here to defend himself.
No,
folks,
he wouldn't. You know good and well Craig would agree with me.
Oh, he doubled down.
Yeah,
you know, I think he might become a sponsor for whoever's the next up and coming moonshine when it's all said and done. That's his aspiration, and I think he could reach it. Folks,
Miller Lite and moonshine, baby.
We got an exciting show in store for y'all today.
No, wrong. You gotta do that again.
Okay, let's do it again, folks.
Gotta do that again.
We got an exciting show in store for you.
There you go. The bigger thing. Yes.
Cranked out of my mind as usual. You know, you got to bring the energy if you're on TBQ football and not snoozing like one person did on one of our shows. Not going to name names, you know. But
you can open your mouth when you do that, right? Like you can open your teeth a little bit when you do that.
Well,
you can drop names.
That too. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't think, he's not even going to fucking know. I think even if I said his name, he still would be snoozing right when he clicks on the link to find out what we're doing, you know?
Who?
I'll tell you outside the show.
It's just behind the scenes talk.
Send it in the private chat. Send it in the private chat.
Okay. I'll tell you.
I'm so curious. Because if it's who I think it is, like I'm going to like cry laughing.
It's, remember this guy?
Yeah.
You already fucking know, man. That dude was just, and he was like, it was something about, pizza rolls. He's like, where are my pizza rolls at? You know, like, Jesus Christ, man.
Definitely not better than ice cream sandwiches.
Oh, hell no. Hell
God.
no. Distant backseat. I'm not 11 again. Come on.
No, Courtney, no.
I'm not 11.
Yeah. Like let's be real here. The Totinos don't stack up to that fucking Umpqua, baby.
Oh.
That Umpqua, about that life.
Time out.
Yo, man.
What did you just say?
I said Totinos, not token.
Not that.
Good
yeah,
Lord,
well, Aaron. No, not that. The what? What's the other brand you just said?
Umpqua.
What is that?
You don't know that? That's the MVP of ice
No.
cream. They have the red gallon containers. They got all sorts of different flavors.
We
They
don't
got
have that
pumpkin
down
pie
here.
Oh my God, you guys are missing out. It's the goat. Better than Briars, better than Dryers.
What?
That or Tillamook are the MVP.
Tillamook
No,
is really good.
Tillamook
I've had
was- Tillamook's more
Tillamook's
national.
Very good.
But Umpqua?
more national.
They're on the rise, man. They got some killer ass pumpkin pie a la mode, baby. That's the MVP right there. Pumpkin pie. It's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful, man.
Courtney, it might as well be. Like, we never, two things we don't do is get started on time and stay on topic.
No, we never do. Never. We never.
That might be that's like the alternative name for this show is Stranger Things or ADD on the NFL, which I tried to nominate as the show name, but didn't go anywhere.
We're like a mystery box of jelly beans. You never know what you're going to get.
Now wait. Okay, so
okay.
Nick, you guys have this more up by you. Like, how does something? Oh, well, I guess I don't know if Dave has had it, but like, something like is it almost like a Carvel type thing or like something like that? Because
I don't know what that is.
What is?
No,
whatever
What's
he's
Carvel?
talking about, or is
Umpqua.
I've never heard of that. I never heard
either.
of Umpqua.
or Umpqua or Carvel.
Oh, Carvel's definitely up here. Umpqua,
Yeah, I
I've
know
never heard
for
of.
sure. I've had Carvel.
Never heard of
great.
Carvel ever in my life.
Carvel's good, dude.
How?
Carvel's really good.
We don't get that shit. We're weird up here in the Pacific Northwest, you know.
Oh, we knew that already.
We keep it weird.
yeah,
you know?
We talk to you on a weekly basis. Good.
Weed and cereal. If I cry during this show, I'm blaming you. Okay, just so you know.
Yo,
That was hurtful.
he got you there for sure.
I did.
That was cold, man.
That was pretty
Unforgivable. Dude, you're dead to me. No, but folks, like I said, we got an exciting show in store for y'all today. We're previewing the NFC West. I want to get into all things with the NFC West, how the standings will play out, who could, how certain scenarios could play out, what we see more likely happening between certain individual players, who's going to come out of this division and reach the playoffs, whether it's as a divisional champion or as the wild card team. I also want to get into Mr. SaquanBarkley coming to an agreement with signing an extension to remain with the New York Giants. Let's get into that. It's kind of a hot topic and for a lot of interesting reasons, if you will. And last but not least, we got to get into Mr. Dipshit Dan himself. Dipshit Dan Snyder finally giving up the Commanders and giving it to someone with an actual fucking moral compass.
You believe in miracles? Yes!
I know, right? It's so funny.
Do I believe in miracles? The only miracle that I can think of with that franchise is them eventually making the playoffs.
I mean, I think. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, they're going to make the play. I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Not that you have the voice line. You have the thing.
Oh, they're going to make the playoffs.
I was trying to. I heard it before. I'm trying to lay you up. So
we're going to get through all
down.
4. I believe in it. Believe in us, Cage. My IQ. Believe in us. Okay, I need your belief. That's what fuels the show.
This guy, man.
Tillamook probably is the GOAT.
Tillamook is really
on the rise, but it's up there, man. It really is up there. But like I said, we're going to get into all of that and more. I cannot wait. But before we do, we got to give a shout out to our sponsor. I'm talking Dubby, baby. Dubby right here for the next top-notch, delicious, and healthy energy drink that's sugar-free, calorie-free, jitter-free energy drink. It is going to be so goddamn good for you. Honestly, it's healthy. It's packed full of vitamins. It's packed full of neurofactor. I feel free to help support the show by heading over to w.gg, using that promo code TBQ, get that 10% discount on your next purchase. They've got a wide variety of flavors, man. I got your boys out here rocking that push and punch. I wish I had on me to prove to you that I'm not a fraud, and I do have it. But I do, and it's delicious. And I've done it the last few shows, but for those who are the new... Oh, here we go. We got it right here, actually. It was just hiding behind. Push and punch. Push and punch. It was hiding behind a lot of stuff back here, actually. I couldn't find it. But it's the shit, dude. It's so good. It's the real deal, man. Head on over, though, to w.gg to get started. Use that promo code TBQ and get 10% discount on your next purchase. Also, Mojo Desk, we are also sponsored by. For an ergonomic, electric, and eco-friendly desk that is both adjustable and customizable, head on over to mojodesk.com. They've got a wide variety of desks to choose from. So many customized designs. You can change your color. You can add an LED hand control setting to it, too. There's a lot of fancy shit over there, a lot of fancy shit. And guess what? You know what also is dope about this? The shipping is free. Completely 100% shipping, completely 100% free shipping and handling. So you're getting hooked up right from the get-go with that. If you want to get started and you're in need of a new work desk, head on over to mojodesk.com. Use that promo code TBQ for a 10% discount that helps support the show. Gives you the discount, man. Double whammy right there, man. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And yeah. Without further ado, let's get started with this show, baby. Let's get started with the show. We're previewing the NFC West here, baby. Oh, and he's busting out that ice cream sandwich. There we go. What flavor is that? Is that cookies and cream or is it regular? Oh, there you go, dude. All right, you've added a notch to your book now, Nick. You're at one notch.
You've gone and completely redeemed yourself.
Yeah. He's finally at neutral. He's finally like at the 0 mark on the pH balance for me. So
that's just mean.
What did you say earlier to me? You're like, I know how fucking crazy you Pacific Northwestern loonies are.
He just doesn't want to stroke my ego. It's okay.
So I'm gonna.
I did not say the word loon a single time. I could have, but I didn't.
You were thinking it for sure, though. Let's get into previewing the NFC West, okay? How do we see these standings play out? Let's start with our number 4 and then work our way out. Let's start with you, George.
So we were talking about this a little bit pre-show, kind of my initial thoughts, because as typical for me, it took me way too long to actually find the questions to remember what we were talking about. Because of course, that's the norm around here. So my number 4 is the Arizona Cardinals. I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of argument with the Cardinals coming in 4th. It's a thin roster, kind of top to bottom. Kyler Murray starting out training camp on the PUP list. We don't know if he's going to be ready for week 1. He really wants to be ready for week 1. And while I can appreciate that, if I'm the Arizona Cardinals franchise with all the money and all the capital you have put into Kyler Murray, I would say, look, dude, if you're not at 110% and ready to play, I am sitting you down. You are not stepping onto that football field because, at that point, you're risking re-injury and you're going to end up possibly being a detriment to the team if you aren't playing at 100%. Hurt players become even worse hurt players because you have that level of doubt in the back of your mind. And once you start playing with doubt, that's when you put yourself at even greater risk of getting injured. There are a couple standouts on this, team. I like Zaven Collins. BJ Ojolari, I do like, but again, he's also starting on the PUP list. And of course, Budda Baker. But we also talked about that. Budda Baker it does not want to be there.
No.
Not even a little bit. He wants to go. He wants to leave. Can I say, can I say the kicker? I mean, Matt Prater is solid. Matt Prater is
solid.
He's very
former
good.
record holder for longest field goal ever.
Yeah, gotta give him some flowers. I love Matt Prater, but there's just not a whole lot going on that I like with Arizona this season. They might. I mean, looking at their schedule, they might end up as one of the worst teams in the league. Period. I mean, they've got NFC East teams all season, and those are a tough out. Don't forget you're getting some NFC North, AFC South. This is a tough schedule.
Yeah,
front to back. So I've got the Arizona Cardinals coming in last.
I don't blame you one bit. Courtney, there will be no Yankees talk in here. As a Red Sox fan, this is blasphemous what I'm seeing right now.
No, it's not. I'm a Yankees fan. Continue to do it, Courtney, so you get on David's nerves.
I'm not going to talk about the Rays because I saw some vintage Sandy Alcantara earlier, and it made me very sad. He was vintage today. 9 innings, like 8 Ks. Well, last year he was. He's been all right this year. Y'all just traded. You guys just traded the most fun. You guys just traded the most fun player on your roster.
TK?
Now there's no reason to watch the Red Sox now.
And we traded him for a reliever, and we don't need relievers right now. So I'm like,
your bullpen's not actually that bad.
It's pretty good.
You just
Brendan Bernardino, Josh Winkowski. Brian Bayo is the only one that's holding it down in the rotation.
He's a dude.
So.
He's a dude.
Yeah.
But y'all gave away Kike Hernandez for like 3 pennies and some pocket lint.
For 1 cent candy.
It was like What's really that? Hard ones.
1 cent candy. Yeah, 1 cent candy. Back in the day, you used to get candy for 1 cent. That's what that pays for.
No,
you know
I don't
what?
remember that. Never been.
You're young. You're young, George. Young.
Someone bashed me over the fucking head so I can think I'm still living in 2018 again when we won the World Series.
Cut your hair.
Dominated the Yankees
and
the Astros.
Cut your
hair first.
Ain't gonna happen. Hell no. I gotta let the yellow stallion out. This fucking rat.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Hold on.
The yellow stallion. Okay.
George, say it with me.
Which one? Hey yo.
I ain't taking it, man. I ain't taking it, okay?
No,
I ain't taking it, okay?
Good Lord.
The what stallion? Don't ever say that again.
Listen, it ain't going nowhere. It's staying for good. It's got a residence, okay? It's got a PO box.
Now if you do that Bijan bet, you'll definitely clip it.
Don't you get me started, motherfucker. Do not get me started.
Anyhow.
Who's your number 4? For NFC West.
I mean, it's the Cardinals. This team sucks.
Yeah.
This team is garbage.
It's bad.
And it just got worse. You lost Hopkins. You let him go for nothing because you couldn't even trade him for anything. This team finished 4-13. What do we expect this team to finish? I mean, ideally, to give them an attaboy, 3 wins. But dare I say they only won 2 games? This is ridiculous. This team is absolutely 100% trash. This is a rebuilding year for this team. You got a new head coach. You got a couple defensive pieces.
Cardinals are cheeks.
The offense is what? Without Kyler Murray, you're going to start maybe Colt McCoy. They say Murray might be ready for week 1, but I highly doubt it. When you tear your ACL at the end of the year, you may not be ready for week 1 overall start.
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Again, there's a lot to go wrong with this team in general. This team last year was starting not only just Colt McCoy, but David Blout, Jeff Driscoll, Jeff Driscoll will end up starting later in Houston. Like, it's again just trash all around. James Conner obviously makes this offense something relevant, but other than that, look. This team is not going to – this is not going to be the Seattle Seahawks of last year, folks. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Well, they may surprise us. They might win more than 3 games. They might win 4 again. But do they win 5? No. Come on. Let's be real about this. They're at the bottom of not only just this division, but dare I say all of football, and definitely probably the bottom of their own conference potentially. This is just a situation that you shouldn't want any parts of. And again, that's where I stand with it. I mean, they had an impressive, somewhat impressive draft, but other than that, like, this team ain't going nowhere. It's definitely a rebuilding year. This is definitely one of those college programs that, they were decent a couple of years ago, and then all of a sudden they just fell off a cliff. This is this team now.
Yeah, I mean, this division is really interesting, I think, for the top three teams with Nick just disappeared. With the Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers, man. I think any one of those teams, really could potentially make the playoffs, and I'd see it as a legitimate possibility. I mean, there's just so much diversity for all the teams around. All around from each of those three teams, man. Honestly, there's a lot of promise that you can hype up for each of those three teams to potentially make the playoffs this year. But as for the Arizona Cardinals, man,
open your mouth wide and take it.
I mean, I'm just saying, it's that's what's going to happen probably this year. Okay, let's just be real about it.
Hey, yo,
I want to freeze frame right there, George's face, and use that as my background and that's going to be called the disappointed dad look, because that was a disappointed dad look if I've ever seen one. Okay, it was like, son, you're gonna have to do better than that, buddy.
I'm not even. You know what it made me think of just now? I'm not really. If you guys don't know what it is, I'm not gonna have you guys like look it up. But if anybody else is chronically on the internet as I am, on TikTok, whenever there's something potentially sus going on, there's this like EMT who's in the back of his truck, just goes, "Hey," and it zooms in on his face and goes, "No, don't do it." No.
The look of shame, the head shake of shame.
That's
man.
it.
The only thing worse if you would have added a, at the end, a tisk, It would have just been like, God damn, like this is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that low.
And I love it, Cage My IQ. I absolutely fucking love it.
Yeah.
I did not prognosticate this.
We'll talk about this topic in September.
It's really funny because every team in the AL East has like a plus 500 record. So every team in the AL East would be leading the AL Central right now by multiple games. It's kind of shameful.
Yeah, the AL East is like, it's one of the toughest divisions I've ever seen. Like, this may be the toughest division ever, like in baseball's history, which has existed for damn near 150 years now. Okay,
yeah, it's pretty old.
That's saying something. Tim King, right here, of course, my guy. Absolutely. Here's why I'm a little bit cautious about them, though, just to tease a little bit of a spoiler. I think they're very injury prone, man. It's just ridiculously injury prone, top to bottom. I can go through a plethora of guys that I am very, very nervous about health wise, and collectively. And I don't want to try to prognosticate any injuries for certain guys. I think that's disrespectful to go to a certain guy like, I don't see him playing more than 10 games. Like, but the collective health as a whole makes me a little bit worrisome about this team's chances this upcoming season. Brock is clear to play. You're absolutely right, Courtney. He was just clear to play. He's good to go for training camp. So that's huge news for the 49ers. But getting back to the Cardinals, man, this defense, it's a colossal fucking mess right now, if I've ever seen. I mean, it's unbelievably disgusting. Their best defensive player in Budda Baker doesn't even want to fucking be there, okay? He's like I was saying before the show, it's like Saving Private Ryan out there. He's just trying to get an SOS call and say, get me the fuck out of here, please, And sadly, I don't think he can dictate that, I don't think he can, he can't. He's a player who's under contract. He can't force his way out of there unless he were to hold out, which, it could potentially happen. Who knows? Because there's a lot of holdouts like on the coming down the pike potentially in the near future. And he could be one of them too. It's really bad. I mean, I know they're trying to get something going, in that linebacking core and in Isaiah Simmons in particular, who previously was in the linebacking core and is now shifting to more of a DB role based on last year and how often he played in the nickelback position. That seems to be the focus moving forward for him. He's listed on the depth chart within Jonathan Gannon's system as being a nickelback. Cameron Thomas is someone I'm curious about, though. Zaven Collins, yes, I think there's something interesting too, but Cameron Thomas is someone that I think could be a potential premier pass rusher if he were able to get the gears going and start hitting his stride. He was a monster at San Diego State. it's been a couple years now. Like, there's a lot of pressure on him to get things going, but I think there's some possibility. There's some optimism that could be coming from him in particular. But we obviously talked about the defense, which bringing a new defensive coordinator with a new coach, of course, because Cliff Kingsbury is no longer there. It's now Jonathan Gannon. Nick Rallis from the Eagles, the former linebackers coach, is their defense coordinator. He could be very awesome down the road, though, okay? Did some great things with the Eagles linebacking core, a lot of prioritizing of heavy blitzes and rushing the passer, as he did clearly with guys like Hassan Reddick, also coincidentally a former Arizona Cardinal. I want to see what they do with Cameron Thomas and Isaiah Simmons, man. That's going to be really, really interesting. Kaiser White, they brought over from the Philadelphia Eagles too. So that's going to be a very interesting mix defensively. Offensively, though, man, Kyler's rehabbing that torn ACL. He did get injured on December 12th, okay? And there's usually an 8 to 9, potentially up to a 12-month timeline before he were able to get back. So he's right on the edge of getting ready just in time before the season. Best case scenario, though, I don't see them expediting his recovery process and potentially jeopardizing his career by just rushing him out into the field just because this team is a shit show without him. And he's special. We all know how great of a runner he is. He's also a phenomenal deep ball thrower who's leading the league in deep ball passing in 2021, his last full year of being healthy when they made the playoffs. This year, though, man, I don't think I think he can only do so much, man. I'm not a big believer in James Conner being a bell cow back moving forward. I just think health-wise and age-wise and, just physical toll-wise, it's getting up there, man. It's starting to get up there to where I just don't know if I see him as what he previously was. And you really just have Marquise Brown and an aging Zach Ertz to bank on, I don't think that's enough offensively with Kyler Murray as your only guy that is a proven legitimate stud, And last year, too, when we talk about how bad it got, they only won one game against the NFC West, okay? One game last year against the entire NFC West. I believe it was against the Rams, if memory serves me correctly. That's it. I do not see them. They could go 0-4 this year in the NFC West. It's entirely possible. And furthermore, I see them starting out 1-8 in the season because when you look at their schedule for this upcoming year, they don't have a lot of easy teams. Like the Giants, really, or best case scenario within that first 9 games of the season that they could potentially squeak out a win with, because I'm personally not as high on the Giants with Daniel Jones. And I think there are certain things that there's a little bit of worry I have with the Giants, spoiler alert for our NFC East preview coming down the road later. I'm a little worrisome, man. So I just think this, I think the big thing is how they get this offense going, because they're going to need to hold it down for a lot of this team. It'll be curious to see what Drew Petzing does, a former quarterback coach from the Cleveland Browns and tight ends coach there too, Coach David Njoku. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of run-heavy stuff. So I'm curious to see if that's going to be the identity moving forward, if they're going to lean on that, how much Kyler's going to factor into that coming off that injury. I wouldn't imagine so much because it was a lower leg injury as opposed to a hand injury or a shoulder injury. I predict he's not going to be a significant part of the run game moving forward, Oh, really? The defensive, are you talking about the Drew Petzing is really? Or so Nick Rallis is. Really now? I didn't know that. A little fun fact right there from Cage My IQ. Well, Courtney, I would say, Andrew Luck, they had some good years. They almost got to the Super Bowl back in 2014, And Phillip Rivers, MVP of the show, starting his own team. In fact, that might be the 33rd franchise in the NFL when it's all said and done. With 10 kids he's got coming down the road, man. The 10th kid. Yeah, he was you're right, Gage My IQ. You were 100% right. He was the win in the start in that win against the Rams. If they're going to stack the run game, you got James Conner, Corey Clement, and Keontae Ingram. That's not a stacked running room. So where's the hype? Where's the I don't see it. I got the Cardinals possibly going. I think 3 or 4 wins is best case scenario for them, And they ended up with 4 wins last year. Like, it's going to be best case scenario, a repeat. And I'm not trying to shit on Jonathan Gannon, Drew Petzing, or Nick Rallis. I like this crew. A lot of people are shitting on Jonathan Gannon. He hasn't even fucking coached a game yet, because of some awkward ass handshake he had with who was it? Was it I forget who it was. Was it Marquise Brown? He had that awkward handshake, and they were like, "You're trying too hard. You're going to fail now as a head coach." It's like, That's kind of.
I mean, honestly, like just kind of looking at him, it wouldn't shock me if he had an awkward handshake with any of the players on his team.
I mean, it's just
he just looks like an awkward guy. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like that's fair to say.
But he's a nice guy. He's a good
I'm
hearted
sure
individual.
I'm sure he's great. He looks a little awkward.
Disrespect, man. Oh my God! So it's only downhill from here because he doesn't know how to dab it up. You know.
I did not say anything about dapping anybody up. I didn't say it.
But you're thinking it.
No, you're thinking it.
Let's go to number 3 on our standings. Let's start with you, George.
My number 3 team is the Los Angeles Rams. This one is, I feel like this division, with how everything shook out last season and how this offseason's gone, we're going to have kind of similar lists for the most part with this one. I feel like, I know my list essentially got predicted earlier, more or less, but this team is on the downswing of what was going on now with the Cardinals. This team is coming off of a win. A lot of their guys retired or are getting injured now or have moved on and gotten their big payday from another team. And just based on the way last season went, Stafford clearly doesn't seem the happiest this offseason. I'm not sold on Cam Akers, who was an inconsistent back even when he was 100% healthy. And sure, I'm sure he's coming into the season healthy, but I'm not going to take 3 games at the end of a season where they're not really playing for a whole lot and he's getting the ball, how many times, as just a source of truth for, that's it. He's back. He's going to be that guy. Mm-hmm. CooperKupp is still hurt. Skoranek is still hurt. I mean, the fact that you've got Ben Skoranek as your wide receiver 3 potentially, I think tells me a lot about this depth chart. At this point, it's just such a shallow roster as well. They've only got a handful of actual offensive linemen. You've got Tyler Higbee as essentially your only productive tight end on the roster, and then defensively, it's kind of Aaron Donald or bust after trading away Jalen Ramsey. I mean, I like Jordan Fuller, sure, but I don't know where you're going to get any production from anywhere else on that defense.
And remember, they lost Bobby Wagner too.
Yeah.
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah. I mean, it's like almost poaching the fucking defense,
Just about everybody whose name is not Aaron Donald has been shipped out or decided to leave.
Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, this is another very, very shallow roster. They didn't have a ton of draft picks. It's not like they were able to add a whole lot at the top of this last year's draft. I mean, their middle round picks, I like. Stetson Bennett, I feel like has the potential. He doesn't. I'm not going to say he's got the juice, but I'm not going to say he's just absolutely horrible and cooked and just bad. If Aaron Donald gets traded, I mean, this team is immediately one of the worst in the league. They're not great as is, but when you've got a Matt Stafford, a CooperKupp, and an Aaron Donald, those 3 alone are going to drag you to a win or 2 on top of games of games where you should win anyway. Look, if guys get hurt, I like 2 of the guys they brought in offensively during the draft. I don't hate Stetson Bennett. I like him better than Brett Rippon. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I haven't even seen an NFL snap from Stetson Bennett. And even over Sony Michel and Kyron Williams, they did pick up Zach Evans, who doesn't have a ton of tread or doesn't have a ton of wear on the tires, I should say. Didn't play a ton at the college level, and I think he could be a productive back in the NFL. That is if we're seeing Cam Akers get hurt again, which I don't wish on anybody, but that's not out of the realm of possibility, or he struggles.
Yeah.
We're talking about, look, and imagine Kupp isn't ready, or imagine Kupp doesn't, have that bounce back year.
Do you have a bias? Do you have a prejudice against Boise State? You didn't like Kellen Moore either.
Kellen Moore didn't go to Boise State.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Hell,
he was the greatest Boise State quarterback ever.
Do you mean the only quarterback that I've really gone after was Kellen Mond?
I think you weren't but you didn't like him as a coordinator, though.
Coordinator,
he was a monster there.
I was about to say, I don't remember watching him in college because how long ago was that?
Oh, he
It was a
was
while ago.
exactly.
It was,
It was about 10 years ago, but he was like, no, he was leading the league in like passer rating and things like that. He was unbelievable. Yeah, but I still remember Jared Zabransky. Like I go farther back. Like it's, Boise State, man, those were the glory days.
Oh no, I have nothing against Boise State.
Boise was like Boise State, like
yeah.
I have nothing against Boise State. No, if you were to say like Mississippi State, sure, but not Boise State. I don't mind the Broncos; they're fine. But
how could you, Courtney?
See,
how could you? This is just this hurts. This hurts my heart.
Speaking of that, I know good and well. I've said my piece on the Rams. I don't think they're that great, but they've got just enough to be better than the Cardinals. I'll say that much.
Well, how many wins do you see? Good to see Universal Wrestling Podcast.
Not a whole lot.
How many? No.
I don't know. Like maybe. I mean, I think the Cardinals are going to end up with like 2 or 3 wins. Like they're going to be really bad.
It's very possible.
Rams right now, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, is 7.5.
Under.
So.
I know they poached them a team, but
I'm giving them like 4 or 5 max.
I'm curious about this. Nick,
I don't love them.
Who have you got for your number 3?
Yeah, the Rams are number 3, but I think they're more of a tougher out than people think. I know it doesn't look always the best on paper for these Rams. Look, coming into the offseason, they didn't have much draft capital. That's why they traded Jalen Ramsey away. That's why they traded back several times in the draft to just piece together a roster that looks presentable. They're already thin at so many different positions even after the draft. However, when you have a guy like Matt Stafford, you're hoping he's healthy. You're hoping he's going to be the QB that could stabilize an offense that I would say is, on the tail end of medium throughout the league on average. But you're hoping Stafford can bring this offense together. You get a guy like Puka Nacua, who I think is a stud from BYU.
Yeah,
I think he can really be a gem for this offense. Defensively, they're going to have their woes. Besides Aaron Donald, I think if the Rams come out and they're looking really sluggish, if they're losing games, if they're like 2-6 after the first 8 games, I think it is time to see what you can get for Aaron Donald in the trade market. It may not be as much, but you got to see in order to salvage your future. Look, the Rams and this organization did what they had to do to get a Super Bowl win. And they're just dealing with the other side of the coin now. You're dealing with all the lack of draft picks. You're dealing with the lack of free agents. You're dealing with the lack of cap room. All these other issues that come with you going all in for a championship, which again, hey, you got the championship, you got the trophy, this is great. But now you're set back another 5-6 years right now. And this is like year 3. So again, you got a respectable roster offensively. CooperKupp coming back from injury. I think CooperKupp's gonna be ready to go. You're talking about a guy that's, had the triple crown when it comes to receptions, receiving yards, these things. So it's not out of the book for the Rams to put a productive season. I just don't think they're playoff berth. I, at best, see this team as an 8-9 season overall. I think they squeak by with the win total currently. I wouldn't bet on it currently, but I think the Rams can win 8 games. The only other problem I have is that they play a lot of away games against teams that we think are playoff viable. So their games – they have away games against the Cowboys on October 29th, and then away games against Green Bay, which is probably not a playoff team, but it's still in Green Bay. And then you have the bye. And then you have home games against the Seahawks, playoff team, the Cardinals, which, again, is – we talked about it already. Then you got the Browns, Ravens, Commanders, Saints, Giants, Niners. That's a tough stretch of schedule, in general. So I think the back half of the schedule is where things – you could probably get a couple more wins, but ultimately you'll probably flame out against other teams who are vying for playoff position bursts. That's where, again, these problems come about. This is just you're dealing with the other side of the coin winning a championship, and this is just part of the consequences of it. You set your franchise back several years from winning the Super Bowl, and that's where that goes. Like I said, I think the offensively, I think the Stafford's healthy, and all signs point to him being healthy. He could lead an offense to being nice, respectable throughout the lead, find themselves in some shootout games, and ultimately the defense kind of gives away the game because they just don't have the talent to back it up. But ultimately, they'll win some of these games because of their offense.
Yeah, I think so. I've got some high hopes for this Rams team. I know you guys brought up some great points about the injuries and the draft picks that they're losing and the guys that have left the team. But, I'm just going to go out on a limb and just say, fuck this noise. Fuck this noise. I think if the Rams stay healthy with Matt Stafford, he comes out and he's got his old vintage arm. I mean, at least – or
is Rams your number 3 too?
They are my number 3 team, but I think they could be on the cusp of a potential playoff team. They really could. They might be they're on the outside looking in, but I think they could win 10, maybe 11 games on the backs of Matt Stafford and CooperKupp. You got Van Jefferson.
So pause.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think this happens? I'm just curious. So let's go over the schedule real quick.
Okay.
I would be curious to know how they end up with double-digit wins. So the schedule goes as this. I'll just name it off, and you tell me if it's a win or loss. So their first game is at Seattle. First game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that a win or a loss?
I'm gonna say a loss.
Okay. All right. Then they're home to the Niners the next week. Is that a win or a loss?
That could be a sneaky win. I could see that being a sneaky win potentially.
All right. Next game, Bengals.
I'm gonna go loss. Loss for that one.
So that's
1 and 2.
You got the Colts next.
Win. Yes, win.
I could see
that being
at Indy.
If everyone's healthy, win. Yes, I'll go win.
Eagles next game.
Yeah, it's a fucking L. That's fucking L. There's no doubt that's an L.
Okay. Cardinals.
So what am I at right now? Am I 2 and 3? Right? I think I'm 2 and 3. Yeah, I'm 2 and 3. Win.
All right, so 3 and 3.
Home
to the Steelers.
That could potentially be a win. If Kenny Pickett's not ready by that time, that could potentially be a win. I'm just saying this is a window. Not that I'm guaranteeing this, but yeah, I could see that being a win.
Cowboys.
At Dallas, I'm going to go with an L. So
at Green Bay.
So that's what?
4 and 4.
4 and 4. At Green Bay, a win. I'm going to go win. I'm not high on Green Bay this year.
Fair enough. So 5 and 4 before the bye week, right?
Yeah.
Played Seattle after the bye. That's a win or a loss?
I think that could be a win against Seattle. Hosting them at home, I think there could be an interesting situation where they're coming off the bye. If especially the Seahawks have some question marks with the offensive line. If they can't contain Aaron Donald, man, that could change. I mean, he changes games sometimes,
Okay. Cardinals again.
Win.
Browns at home.
Win. I'll go win with that one.
So we got 8 and 4.
Yeah. Or I think are we at 8 and 4? I can't even do my math right.
Yeah.
But we only got 4 losses. Yeah.
All right. Ravens.
Loss. I'll go loss with that.
Home to the Commanders.
Win.
Confidently.
Yeah, I think they could pull out a win. It's going to be dicey. It's going to get close. I think they could pull off a win with that one. Washington has big question marks as to what's their identity in the run game and in the passing game with the new quarterback.
I just think Washington defense is going to be a little bit too much for them.
And here's the thing. I'm very high on Washington this year. I just think there are certain games getting down to the wire. Maybe the pressure gets too big for the rookie, or not the rookie, but the first-year starter in Sam Howell. If he's the one who ends up starting, of course. I just, I'm a little nervous about that one.
Saints.
Win. Yeah.
Automatic win. The Saints will most likely be vying for the playoffs at that point.
Fuck the Saints, man.
Well,
honestly.
Don't let Craig hear that.
Well, he's not really a Saints fan, so he doesn't give too much of a shit, but he's more of a fantasy guy. He likes certain.
So we got the Giants and then the Niners last 2 games.
We got 5 losses. You know what? I'm gonna go upset at MetLife on the Giants. I'll fucking do it. I don't believe in Daniel Jones as a quarterback.
You're talking out the butt now.
No, hell no.
If this was in LA, I can see it.
Saquon's unhappy too.
Anytime you get the time zone difference when you're going away, is always a factor.
But Matt Stafford's used to playing in that cold weather, though. He played in Detroit. Well, he played in a dome, so yeah. I had to correct myself. But he had to walk to the stadium. That little walk, like it didn't.
Wait a minute. We're counting you walking to the stadium in cold weather. You play
2 minutes can have a difference on you. Damn it! I'll die in a hill for that. No,
Good Lord.
no, but he's used to but he played in the NFC North though. He played in Chicago. He played in Green Bay. Those are both outdoor stadiums.
Yeah, but he also played in Minnesota as well, which is an indoor stadium.
No, I know, but he's accustomed to the cold weather though. You know, he has to live in Detroit. He's not beelining it every day from
I'll
LA.
just say
this.
I just think there's a few. I think there's a few wins there that you're kind of.
11.
Those are
Those
easy losses.
Listen to this though. Like I said, it's all predicated on health and it's all predicated on a window. It's not a guarantee. It's a window. It's a spectrum reach.
You said 10-11. You didn't say 8. You didn't say 9. You said 10-11.
I said window though. I said potential.
10 or 11 win window. That's for the window.
No. That's the farthest.
Meanwhile,
they can go.
I 7.5. I'm hammering that under.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Twist your words.
More for me.
Okay.
More wins for
fair
me.
enough.
Vegas.
I can't bet anyway.
My account number is 754.
Write that down.
They don't got no money
Drop
in
the
it.
winnings and let me go fucking buy the Bears
you
from whatever
anyway.
shitty ownership we have right now. I'll you know.
I don't, but I'm not allowed to. So
your boy's got connections. I'm just saying.
I'm not allowed to.
No, but
legally not allowed to.
You're over
this has to be a broken window sold at the farmer's market.
Don't hate. Okay, there is no hater. Okay, there is no haters. All right,
that's a good one.
Join the team. Join the winners over here. This is a winner right here. I only win. You know.
Sure.
It's me and Charlie Sheen over
What,
here.
you want to talk about winning, huh? What about that bet we had last year? We did Dexter Lawrence's dance for us, huh?
Sexy Dexy.
Oh my God! Don't you? You know what someone sent me after I did that? Someone sent me this in the they DM'd me this after watching that video. They just sent. Stop it! Okay, that's what they sent me, and I was like, "All right, dude." Chill the fuck out, okay? I wasn't sending you this video.
Gotta get that clip, yo. George, remind me to get that clip.
I'll take shit that never happened for 500.
And I was like, can you get out of my fucking chat so Chris Hansen does, you know? And I was like, can you get out of my chat so Chris Hansen doesn't fucking be like, hey, what's going on here? You know? Just coming in like I mean,
I don't
straight
caught that.
What I totally missed it because my mic. What did you say? But I don't want Chris Hansen coming in.
The problem with that, though, is that I have the transcript of your online chat.
Oh, Lord.
I don't want to deal with that. You know?
No, I said.
You took the you'll take 100, or you said some Jeopardy.
No, I
thing,
said.
right? Or take the under.
I'll take shit that never happened for 500.
You know. Listen, we got our fan base out there. You know, we appeal to all demographics. Okay, you know, whether it's the grandmas out there, the Gladyses, the Roots, you know, or the grandpas, the Bartholomew's,
or the Gators in Florida.
Oh, hey, that might be our number one. Okay, they fucking
baby.
get down with the TBQ. Okay, they get down with the TBQ.
Love me my Gators.
Like we get fucking.
Wait a minute! Whoa! You're an Ole Miss guy. Can't be saying that.
Sure, I can. I'll go wrangle a gator right now.
I mean, they're just sending us complimentary bath salts through the mail. And I'm just like, let's dial it back a bit.
Look,
okay?
if you don't think they have,
I don't know what to tell you, people.
You know?
If you don't think they have a YouTube in the swamp, I think you're sorely mistaken.
No, but going back to this Rams team, though, I am a little bit worried about this team's health with Matt Stafford, CooperKupp. They lost Ramsey and
my God.
Oh God, yeah, it's a blast.
Flashbacks. He almost gave me.
And you let go of Ramsey and Wagner. They may be still the best at what they do. They're veterans. They're older, but they're still fucking dominant. You know, like it's crazy. It's crazy what they're doing. You know, I think this is all hinged upon health, though. If Stafford and Kupp, if they get healthy, man, that is an electrifying duo. That's the number one pass catching duo in the entire league, unequivocally. Okay. Unequivocally, yes.
I think Burrow and Chase have something to say.
As much as I love that can change.
I think Hurts and AJ Brown have something to say.
No, here's the thing. I'm saying right now,
unequivocally, Kelsey definitely has something to say.
No, but I'm saying right now what they've proven when they've been healthy. You know? No, yeah. Sorry. I know I get way too defensive randomly for my takes. I know I'm like a cage fucking elephant, I guess. But yeah, no, it's I'm a little bit nervous about them. I really am. Kupp was awesome last year when he played 90 yards per game, receiving 6th highest grade versus zone coverage, according to PFF. And in 2021, he was first in against man coverage, 8th against zone. So he was absolutely unbelievably dominant back then, too, when he won the Triple Crown, of course. I love this guy. I know he's not flashy and getting in and out of his breaks, but he's exceptional at finding the soft spot in the zone and his body position. In man, because he knows how to position himself to get get open to catch passes from Stafford, man. I know Stafford said he's not the human jugs machine as a thrower that he used to be, but he can still get the ball out there, he said. So there's still a little bit of a semblance of optimism from him, and I'll buy into that. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that I think a lot of people are not giving him right now, This is a guy, remember, when he was coming out of Georgia, I want you guys to answer this. Maybe outside of Brett Favre, when he was coming out of Southern Miss and joined the Packers, was there anyone who possibly had a stronger arm from a natural athleticism standpoint during that, when he came out in 2009 than Matt Stafford? I mean, remember how much we were hyping up his arm strength? It's a fucking hose, dude, a fucking cannon. Artillery rifle over
I think the guy before him we talked about a lot with arm strength was Vince Young.
Vince Young had arm strength, but I wouldn't put him on the same level as Stafford, but he had a cannon too.
That's what I was saying, not in terms of like quarterback style play and all that type of stuff. It was more just like based on metrics, like not like
just
overall.
Raw
strength, yeah.
But I agree, because Vince Young was supposed to be the next Donovan McNabb, essentially, but like even better as a rusher.
Cage IQ, definitely Jamarcus Russell too. We're talking about that same thing.
And Jamarcus too. Sorry, I totally forgot about Jamarcus
as
well.
I think he threw like 60 something yards from just
70 on his fucking knee. Insane.
Absolute lasers.
Wow.
That definitely both those guys. I totally slipped my mind. Jamarcus Russell was another guy for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then they asked him to watch tape, and he said he did, and they gave him a blank CD that he totally caved into.
We gotta make that a show topic. The top busts of all time.
I would like to get into that. I would absolutely like to get into that. I like talking about that in a respectful way, But no, the Rams with Raheem Morris defensively, he's got a lot to do schematically to kind of cloud over the team losses. He plays a lot of zone coverage. They played at the highest rate in the NFL last year with a lot of cover four, especially so a lot of quarters coverage. You're gonna have to cloud a lot, losing a Jalen Ramsey, a shutdown corner who maybe still be the best in the league. Good luck, man.
He's still a top 3 to me. So
yeah. So I got them there. I think they could win 11 games, but it's a lot to shoulder. So I get how bonkers and batshit insane I am for saying that. Let's go to our number 2, George.
My number 2 in this division. Gosh, this one is tough because I really like both these teams up at the top of this division. I am going with the 49ers in second. I love their defense. Bosa is holding out. Based on what I've heard, he's not at training camp. I'm still not sold on Brock. Mm-hmm. I understand, with the sample size that we saw. What?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't. There could be him coming down to earth, but like not. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, Oh no! I mean, this is it. It just kind of is what it is for me. With what we saw last season, yes, what we saw was outstanding. I think he fits the system that they run absolutely perfectly. But again, we're talking about him coming off of a major injury. No matter he's coming off of Tommy John adjacent. We're talking about he tore his UCL in his elbow, but. I mean, I love their defense still. BrockPurdy, I'm still not 100% sold. I think the league, sure, if we see him come back down to earth to an extent, I mean, where does that put him? I mean, based on a skill, like a talent level at that point. I mean, whenever these guys have to just kind of lean on that ability and lean on that talent, like with Stafford, what gets him out of trouble a lot of the time? His arm strength.
Right.
Purdy doesn't have that. What is a guy like, for example, even on this roster, TreyLance? Whenever he eventually, because I don't think he's done. I don't think he's a bust.
No, yeah, that's way too early, I think.
Way too early. Yeah. But for a guy like him, whenever he has to make plays outside of the system, what's he going to lean on? his just raw athleticism and running ability. And I'm not sure that I don't think Purdy has that either. Purdy very much has the game IQ, the ability to diagnose defenses and make those like kind of easy plays that we saw. But I don't know how he's going to adjust to the rest of the league adjusting to him, because I think of that, like, this is the point where that's going to start happening. I love CMC. CMC is going to ball out because he always does. Same with Debo. But I mean, beyond Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, I don't love this receiving core. I mean, George Kittle, is Kittle. He's a stud no matter what.
But don't you think those three guys with Ayuk, with Debo, if Debo stays healthy, because that's a big caveat, and Kittle can kind of, it's like the big three, and we think about in the NBA how like the big threes kind of shoulder a lot of the load and they're the ones who are the predominance of the identity. Can't they do that within the receiving game? Like, like for the receivers to hold it down for the backups,
I mean, I guess, but I wouldn't use that as that's not a reason.
Not Ayuk, maybe, because
no, not even just that. I'm talking like using other sports to, like, in this case, using the. I mean, sure, I don't hate Juwan Jennings, but he's fine. He's an okay number 3. I mean, go look at Seattle. Go look at Seattle's core.
But let's just say, for instance, Kittle gets. He could potentially get 1,300 yards again this year,
Sure.
Like he's done previously in his career's path, in his career's past. Debo gets 1,400 yards and Ayuk gets another 1,000. That's what, 3,400 yards alone, excluding the run game that's going to count for stuff too with Christian McCaffrey and how great of a receiver he is. I'm just saying, if that happens, that could be a pretty good enough, receiving core.
Well, that's the thing we're talking about now, the difference between winning a division and getting second in a division.
Yeah.
To actively win the division, you need better than good enough. I think you need, especially with, I think these two teams are as close as possible, like really, really close. Because I really love this Niners defense. They can get to the passer. They can play good coverage on the back, and we saw that in the playoffs this past season. There's just something with Seattle. I just think they've got a lot of the same puzzle ppieces. I think they've just got a little bit more of the talent, a little bit more juice in some of the positions where it is lacking with Sanford.
I totally respect it. And I've got the spoiler, I got the standings kind of playing out similar to you, so it's just, there's a lot to like about this San Francisco roster that I'm going to get into in a bit. And I also am going to get into this in a little bit, this one in particular, Cage My IQ, in a little bit. There's going to be something I'm going to have, I think we need to be keeping our eyes peeled for this upcoming season. Who have you got for number 2, Nick?
I got the Seahawks. It's not for
what's going on, WrestleBread. It's a hell of a name, by the way.
It's not for overall, because it's such a bad team. I think it's really just more, I'm still not sold on this defense when it comes to Seattle. I'm also not sold on how Geno can elevate more of his game from what he did last year. Now, with Geno, no one really saw how Geno was going to come out of nowhere. It surprised us all last year. But with Geno overall, his problem for me, and it's the problem when it comes to winning games in general, is there's certain times I watched Geno last year, and even with him improving, there's other times I've watched tape on him against certain defenses, and he's just struggled.
Are you talking about the second half of the season last year?
I'm definitely talking about that, in which his numbers, he didn't throw for 300 yards or more. The last game he did that in the season was against the Rams, and even that game was somewhat, that game was definitely teeter-tottery. Either team could have won that game. But this is the problem I have with Geno, and this is the problem I have with Seattle in particular. Sometimes they really play through motions, and there's games in which you're expecting them to come out and be dominant, and then they just come out lackadaisical. They come out in which who cares about this game? Like earlier in that season against Atlanta, I watched the Netflix quarterback.
What do you think of that? Do you like it, by the way?
Oh man, it's dope. I definitely I'm looking forward to. I'm so looking forward to them doing the second season and who they'll pluck.
I think Russ is supposed
I love
to be
how
maybe?
Broncos country.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's right.
Oh boy. Don't get me started on the danger witches.
Spicy.
Has anyone tried a danger witch out there in the chat? If
No.
anyone can say they've
No.
tried it and they've
So,
survived too,
Wait,
you know,
technically maybe, but they're not from Subway. I'm talking like I've had sandwiches from like the gas station or like Kroger before, and I feel like that could be considered slightly dangerous. Not that bad.
why do I feel like there's just like, I mean, anytime I hear the word danger witch, and I'm sorry, Russ, but when I hear danger witch, I just think there's gonna be like a fucking E. coli warning on the side of the sandwich or the packaging. You know, like I just does not sound enticing to want to try a danger witch.
One of those like state of California cancer warnings.
Yeah, like
So my
fucking tobacco in it. You know, like
Good Lord, yeah.
there's just it's just one giant chemical shit show in there. You know,
Go.
yeah. Go try the danger witch. It's more of a dare than a meal, you know, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue on, Nick. I'm
Sorry.
I can make a better sandwich than a danger witch.
There
But
you go.
I have a rule about this. If there's certain places that you don't spend too much money on because you know you can make it yourself, and then there's times you just go to these restaurants because you're gonna throw money at them because you can't do what they do, or at least you don't want to all the time. Anyhow. With Seattle, with Geno in particular, my problem with him is, yes, what Cage IQ said, there was two or three tight end sets, and yes, he just do the safe throws. But I don't know if Seattle is going to really allow this unleashing of Geno and allow him to do that. They will in certain capacities because now they got JSN in the slot, and they got really great receivers now to really stretch the field. But again, it's just hard to ignore last season, and then it's going to be hard to ignore when defenses start keying in on all these things that was great for Geno last year, now really keying in on what he did from the year prior. Mm-hmm. These defenses are going to find like what really works for you, and they're really going to have an extra year of tape to really look at what you did well. So I think my thing with Geno in particular, I think he's solid. I really thought he was, he really blew people out the water. But in particular, this coming year, there's going to be games where you're going to be like, hey, like they should have easily had a good amount of a lead, this. And it's going to be sometimes the defense kind of letting up a little bit. I think there's going to be times in which Geno is not going to elevate his game and level it up enough for them to win. Because again, after I talked about that game in which he threw for 300 yards or more against the Rams, they went 2-3, and the only wins they had was against a lowly Jets team and a team in the Rams that we knew didn't have, Stafford, Kupp, Donald. Mm-hmm. So it's just concerning for how they ended the season last year. And yeah, they upgraded some weapons to send a third. I think the offensive line would definitely be better for Seattle this year. I think obviously, we talk about the Niners, there are a couple of missing pieces they lost, but ultimately, I just see Seattle kind of just around the mark they were last year. Maybe they get in the playoffs this year because of, some, good fortune coming their way to turn it around. You got Zach Charbonnet there, you drafted, which is pretty impressive. JSN, obviously. I love Witherspoon, who they drafted, number 5 overall, which shocked a lot of people. But ultimately, this Seattle team is one of those situations where they're not division ready yet, but I think they definitely are playoff bound.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I dig that. By the way, this is totally like making me like the fat kid that I am right now can't help but want to crave pretzel bread because that rhymes with it. And I'm
timeout.
I just wanted to say that.
What are pretzels made out of?
I don't know. Bread, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretzel bread is just pretzel.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's the best bread God ever created. Mankind's number one invention.
Is that like a specific thing up there? Because
I love it. I don't know if it is a Pacific Northwest thing, but we sell a lot of it up here. I know that.
I can't go to the grocery store and just buy a loaf of pretzel bread.
Oh, I love it, dude.
Can't do it.
Oh my God. Just
not a thing.
And when you microwave it, it's soft and it's like spongy. Oh my God, it's so good. Nothing hits better than pretzel bread.
You're just talking about going out and buying pretzels, like soft pretzels.
Maybe, yeah, that's true. But I don't know. Maybe they conned my ass into buying pretzel bread because it sounds fancy, 49ers though, number 2. I do not trust this team's health. So if they don't remain healthy, they will cave. I believe they will cave. They will fall. They will fall on their face potentially. I'm very nervous about this team's health, and I know people that you may look at their quarterback room with. You got Brock Purdy, who played very well last year. I am bought into Brock Purdy if he's healthy and he's the same as he's building on last year. Now there could be some sophomore woes, so to speak, but to a certain degree, like kind of like Russell Wilson's sophomore woes, where he didn't really necessarily take that next level leap, even when he won the Super Bowl in 2013. Like statistically, individually, what he did, but he still played well nonetheless throughout that year. I could still see that being the case for Brock Purdy this year. But even if they don't, I know a lot of people are like, well, they got TreyLance and they got Sam Darnold, but like there's so much more with Deebo Samuel, with George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey. They just lost Mike McGlinchey too, not to injury, but he's all off this offensive
Denver
line.
Broncos.
To the Denver Broncos.
Broncos country.
On top of losing DeMeco Ryans, their defensive coordinator, Jimmy Ward, is now playing for the Houston Texans. So there's a lot of moving parts within this system that I'm a little bit nervous about. If they can stay healthy, they're for real. They're potentially an NFC contender. They're not my favorites to come out of the NFC, but they could flirt with some movement in the playoffs when it's all said and done. Especially Deebo Samuel. I think if he comes back healthy, I'm high on him. That's my only concern with Deebo Samuel. When he's not healthy, he's not himself, I believe. But when he is healthy, watch the fuck out. This guy will come back with a sequel to that spectacular 2021 season with 1,400 yards caught through the air. And then another, I think he caught 15 total touchdowns. He had 8 through the ground and 7 he caught in the air. Just next level shit, man. Special stuff. The run game is very multidimensional where you got Elijah Mitchell and, of course, Christian McCaffrey, who's their MVP. Brandon Ayuk coming off a spectacular season. Should be a really good tandem with Deebo and George Kittle. Along with that. So there's a lot to like about it, but again, it's that health, man, because a lot of seasons are dictated by health, and that will especially be the case for the San Francisco 49ers.
So David, tell us why you think, and you, George too, could you both have them at number 1, winning division?
No. I have number 2.
No, the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I know. Tell us why you think Seattle is going to win division, because you guys both have them.
I'm going to get to that in a quick second. I think it'll be very microscopically close, though, to tease what I'm saying. But I don't think Brock's quite. I loved how many chances he was taking downfield towards the latter part of his time, starting for the San Francisco 49ers last year. But he's not on Geno's level to what Geno was doing last year. He's not on that level yet. I don't even believe moving forward this next year, I think Geno will have a better year than Brock Purdy. I 100% believe that.
That's fair to say.
I think that's honestly what it could come down to.
I'm just looking for my question is why you guys are ranking Seattle winning division. What is really separating Seattle, and why are they a little bit more better right now than the Niners? What's going on there?
I'm gonna let George take this first for number 1, and then we'll get to me. I'm gonna save mine for the end, basically though. How many games before Dak Prescott gets hurt?
That doesn't say Dak. That says Dale.
Dale. I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she meant Dak.
No, she meant Dak. I know that, but I don't know what that's like. We roast everybody.
Who's
if
Dale?
you're in chat, we're gonna roast you.
Dale's his decoy, basically. So every time you're trying to get an autograph and you're disappointed because it turns out to not be Dak Prescott, it's Dale.
Yeah.
So
his overly country,
and he might get his ass whooped because the fans will be so pissed off not getting an autograph from Dak Prescott when it turns out to be Dale. So it might just be one.
We know Courtney. We're just.
No, I know. We're just teasing. We're just teasing Courtney. I think I read that she's bigger into other sports. She's not the biggest NFL fan. So yeah, no biggie whatsoever. I think they will. Spoiler alert, I think they will. I think they could make some real noise in the NFC playoffs this year.
I don't like the fact that they gave Diggs almost $100 million. I get it's over 5 years, but
I'm fine with it, to be honest. I think Diggs is a top 10 caliber cornerback, but he's not elite. He's not elite. But I think what he does
I'll give you that. I'll agree.
He makes up for it, in my opinion. But who's your number 1?
We already know it's Seattle. Just based on there's only one team left. I think for me, what really kind of separates these two teams, one, I think quarterback play. I think GenoSmith is going to have a better season than any of the quarterbacks that San Fran trots out. Be that Purdy, Darnold, or TreyLance. stat prediction for Geno.
Yeah.
Honestly, just based on the weapons around him, I think Geno has a better year. I wouldn't be surprised if Geno throws for 44, 32, and less than 11.
100% better year.
Give you guys some context. Geno finished 69.8, basically 7% completion percentage.
Nice.
4,282 passing yards, 30 touchdowns through the year, 11 interceptions.
I'm looking at it.
I know you are.
I think
he's
he
just
has
telling the audience. That's all.
I know. I think he has a better season than that, just based on the weapons he has around him. He's going to have another year with a more solidified offensive line. He's got another full year of Kenneth Walker III. I think he's got better supplementary running backs as well, the Charbonnet. And I loved Kenny McIntosh in college. I mean, that dude is just a bowling ball. I mean, if you
Geno
put him
for 5,000 passing yards.
5K, probably not, but probably close to it.
4,800.
I'll just say this right now before we get to your take. GenoSmith, MVP candidate on the short list. Write it fucking down. That's my prediction. Short list MVP candidates, Geno fucking Smith. Absolutely. This offense only got better in the offseason getting Jackson Smith and Jigba. They've got supplementary run game help with a Kenneth Walker who's a budding star. Is Kenneth Walker not a budding star, Nick?
Is who not a budding star?
Kenneth Walker.
Look, Seattle drafted Charbonnet for a reason, right?
Yeah, he's supplementary help. Well, they're also the running backs are
I
weird
don't know,
now
man.
in the NFL. You know?
I don't know. It took Kenneth Walker a while to break out a little bit. And if it wasn't for Rashad Penny's injury, who knows where we'd be?
I will also say this.
Kenneth Walker can't catch the ball out the backfield a lot. I think Kenneth Walker is a very talented runner. I'm not saying that he's not. But I think there's a reason why I drafted Zach Charbonnet. I think there's a reason that Seattle will, again, they'll still run the ball. And if Kenneth Walker somehow doesn't, if he
goes through a slump, yes, he's susceptible to being benched. Yes.
Right. So that's where,
but
again,
that's
ball for him. Yeah, of course it's the if. And it's a projected starter right now, obviously. But again, second round draft capital, that's pretty high.
No, it is. No, 100%. And it was a shocker of shockers out of this draft. I thought even getting a wide receiver was a bit of a shocker for me for the Seahawks compared to what Cage My IQ was saying about pass rush and stuff like that. But you said that you have the 49ers though. What makes them so special for number one?
Well, first of all, they've proven it to you over and over again. Also, you don't go 13-4 leading the conference. Well, not leading the conference. Second in the conference by what? By just pulling it out of your butt? I don't think so. I sound choppy?
A little bit, yeah, but I think it's just I don't know if you can fix it with your internet or what, but yeah.
Okay.
Actually, also then again, I know you do have your microphone on your mic down here, and if it moves, it can sometimes create some feedback, So
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
That could be
okay. Good point. What I was about to say was the Niners and why I think they'll win the division again is just they've proven it to you again and again. Kyle Shanahan's proven it to you again and again. The Niners have the 5th easiest schedule among the schedules, Warren Sharp football analysis, in which I think it just makes it a lot more easier for them. They have they're favored in I want to say at least 12 of their games, 13 games already based on projected schedule. Again, the Niners are proven to you over and over again. Running game on point. You grab CMC, obviously, who's going to be electric. You got Debo, who didn't have the best of year starting out, but ultimately, he is a talent in which you will be displaying on the field. You got George Kittle there, who again played above and beyond, especially when BrockPurdy was in. So I get there's a lot of questions about BrockPurdy. However, look, I understand that BrockPurdy doesn't have to showcase his strength or whatever that when it comes to his arm strength. But in terms of how he doesn't have to really, again, what did Jimmy G show you? And why did these Niners ultimately get to a Super Bowl as well with Jimmy G? Was because Jimmy G didn't have to do all these crazy throws down the field. He's a pop gun situation where you get rid of the ball. This offense allows you to take the ball, get rid of it. Take the ball, get rid of it. So That being said, you don't have to be like this. You could plug in almost any QB. Would it be crazy to think that even if somehow Sam Darnold wins his offense, he could do the same thing? So it's not this offense is not predicated on in the sense of the QB. It's predicated on the rest of these pieces coming together. So when CMC was traded for, this is why you saw this offense go to another level as well. So ultimately, the Niners defensively they're fine. I think Steve Wilkes, he's no slouch. So that being said, defensive coordinator that came in, he's no slouch either. So I think this team doesn't move. This team doesn't really miss too much of a beat. If they don't have Nick Bosa for the upcoming season, this won't sway me from them winning division, but it will be interesting how they fare if Nick Bosa's not there for week 1. But ultimately, I think the Niners have proven to you again and again, they have a formula, they have a system of how to get it done. Are you going to be able to beat them on the line? Yes, you lost Mike McGlinchey. But ultimately, I think the foundational and system piece shows you they're going to win over and over again. Look at New England. All those years, they didn't have a top wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
And then
fucking David Givens was their star at one point, like
David Patton,
Yeah.
Like all these. So again,
I did like Troy Brown.
The same situation applies here, in my opinion. The system, everything coming together for you. You don't surround it by a so-called star or one piece that you cannot, lose per se. So ultimately, that's why I think the Niners are set up. I think Seattle will definitely give them a run for their money. I'm not saying they're slouches either. I just think ultimately the foundational pieces and system that you have with the Niners are proven over and over again. As long as you have all these things meshing together constantly, they're going to be overall winning games and a proven system that's going to be showing you over and over again why they win. So ultimately, if your defense can't get them off the field, it's going to be interesting. Again, they're going to run the clock on you. You're going to have to score. You have to score touchdowns to beat them. So ultimately, I think that's why the Niners for me are number 1. I think Seattle is in an interesting position, like I said, to be a playoff team. Mm-hmm. The question marks for me come, like I said, with Seattle. Can Geno really elevate his game from the year he had to being that QB that, again, he doesn't loll around in games. I want you to consistently be the QB all the time. Don't get your foot off the gas pedal. Keep it going. But I think Seattle ultimately defensively is again they're a solid defense, but they're not as elite as the Niners, and that's where the difference lies for me.
No, and I don't shit on your take at all for the 49ers. I 100% echo what you're saying. My only thing that's hinging upon why I have some concerns about the 49ers is the constant question of health from this team. Like, there's so many guys. Like,
but even with that, they're
very resilient.
13-4. Even with that, they still finished 13-4, and ultimately they still had a third-string quarterback winning playoff games. Can you tell me the last time we had a Mr. Irrelevant or a 7th-round guy in general, whether it be QB or not, be in playoff games and actually be a factor?
He was a factor, yeah. And
I would just say pitching-wise in general,
and he probably could have changed
league.
At least the closeness of the game if what's his name was healthy, if BrockPurdy was healthy during that game. But by the way, do you think they would win? They could win 13 games with TreyLance, and do you think they can win 13 games with Sam Darnold if it were to come to either of those guys starting for an entire season? Let's just say shit goes awry, BrockPurdy's out, and then maybe even TreyLance gets out. Like, do you think TreyLance and Sam Darnold can win 13 games with the 49ers?
13 will be a stretch.
12 or 11?
I think they'll win double digits.
Okay. All right.
But those other guys that can be.
All right.
And
I don't
this also goes into, as a conference, as the NFC, this is also why I'm confident in that take. Because if worse comes to shove, they're starting Sam Darnold, I still think this team ain't missing a beat. If the other offensive weapons are healthy, if you're telling me they don't have CMC, if you're telling me Kittle's in and out the lineup, you're telling me Debo is the same thing, then it becomes a lot more interesting. But ultimately, you're talking about bill of health, can't control that. But even when I just believe in Kyle Shanahan, like I said, the system And I'm buying into more of the foundational pieces all around this whole organization because they've shown you that over and over again, they get it done, whoever is there or not in most cases.
Yeah, it's I don't, and I think Kyle Shanahan's a top billing head coach. You know, he's definitely like a top tier head coach that like brings out the best in his guys, whether they're backups or they're starters. It doesn't matter. But I don't know, like if we were to see a repeat, because it can be like the fucking plague out there, you know, like where everyone just gets injured. With a hungry team like the Seahawks, who made some improvements, like we said, you know, this offseason, getting Bobby Wagner, who I think was so huge, to getting their MVP on defense. Their greatest defender ever in franchise history is Bobby Wagner. He's a future first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest middle linebackers we've ever seen. That was huge, man. What he can do alone in helping this team stop the run, which ranked 30th in the league last year in stopping the run, that's going to do wonders, honestly. And that's what I think I've got going. I think the weapons they're surrounding him, they're just adding to the supporting cast for GenoSmith, with getting Zach Charbonnet, if shit were to go awry with Kenneth Walker, with getting Jackson Smith and Jigba. If, you know, Tyler Lockett's up there. Tyler Lockett's older than me now. I think he's like 31 now, 30 at least, you know. If he's starting to wind down, Jackson Smith and Jigba, the number one fucking receivers right there, you know. He's right there coming out of that number one receiver coming out of this draft class. I think even the O-line, you know, with Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross, that tackle duo is on the come up. Damian Lewis, this is a guy, not the actor who's from Billions or whatever, the left guard for the Seahawks, okay? This guy is a stud that you guys need to be on the lookout for. I think what he's doing in pass pro is some special shit. This guy's resilient. His base is wide. It's stout. It's stationary in a great way. And I think, honestly, this guy could be a pivotal part in that offensive line and protecting for him. I already talked about their spectacular receiving core with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Tariq Woolen. We have Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. Maybe. And I'm just saying, I don't want y'all to light my ass on fire being the Jets fans, the crazy ass Jets fans, might I add, that you guys are.
Whoa. Time out. Hey, yo, we are not crazy.
Oh, yo. Crazy might
not
be putting
crazy.
it lightly. They might not be going far enough on how bad shit y'all are. You know? But you guys have a spectacular cornerback duo with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed.
Oh,
do you not?
God, a compliment. Thanks.
It's great. It's phenomenal.
Thank you very much.
It's up there potentially being the best in the league. I mean, you could look at maybe
We're still better than the Bears.
And Michael Carter. Carter's a great three.
Don't you dare. Okay, listen. Don't stoke the fire. Okay, because
you're gonna have to call the fucking United Nations and get a fucking binding resolution to keep me from fucking destroying you.
Okay, you want to stoke the fire? You'll get it. Okay. No, but this cornerback duo could be great right out of the get-go. You know, with Devin Witherspoon. We were all loving Devin Witherspoon last year, you know?
Yeah.
We were all loving
Seattle was one of our winners of the draft, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
For good reason, I'd say.
For great
They
reason.
could be a great tandem. This could be the sequel to Legion of Boom.
There we go, Courtney. That's what I'm talking about.
No, we're not fucking highlighting that comment.
I
put on the women's game. I'm curious to see how they do.
But with Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams, who I still believe Jamal Adams is not done at, like, I'm not optimistic. I'm kind of like 50-50. No, I don't want to say cooked. No, I can't say cooked. But I'm very nervous about it. I'm 50-50. Okay.
Nick's laughing. He agrees with me. That man cooked.
But cage my IQ.
Yeah. You know what? Karma served him.
Play that man at linebacker. Play that man at linebacker. He'd be
play him at DN.
Yo, the Seahawks.
Put him at hybrid linebacker.
The Seahawks linebacking core could be sneaky great this year. I'm telling you.
If Jamal
Williams, especially if they put Jamal Adams in there.
Yeah, he does some great things in the box. We all know what he can do special in the box, you know, especially as a pass rusher.
Hey, if they do that, maybe I'll reconsider.
And I don't blame you for that. I don't blame you. You know,
they play Julian Love there instead.
But couple with Jordan Brooks, and I forgot about Julian Love.
Julian Love was actually really good last year.
He was great for the Seahawks.
I joke about that. He was
solid.
really nice last year. Yeah,
very good. I forgot about this. Like I said, this could be Legion of Boom. You got Kobe Bryant, the other Kobe, of course. You know, playing as a cornerback, as the nickelback. You know, coming out of Cincinnati. There's a lot to like about this thing. But you've got two guys. I bring up this comment because you got two guys in Darrell Taylor and I'm sorry, Darrell Taylor, excuse me, not Darrell, but Darrell Taylor, and Uchenna and Wosu, both had 9.5 sacks last year. They're getting some pressure going, man. This could be a sneaky good pass rushing duo, and their linebacking core that could really make some noise this year. I'm not going to say it's going to be the best in the league or anything like that, but man, if double-digit sacks were to happen for both guys, I don't think that's far-fetched. I really don't think so, man. The Seahawks defense is going to be seeing some dramatic improvement. The only thing I'm a little bit worrisome about is that defensive line. You know, they're running a 3-4. They don't have the defensive line right now, I think, that can hold up in an effective fashion. I really have not bought into their Seahawks defensive line, honestly. But I think their defense will be a lot better. I see this team being 12-5, tied with the 49ers, but they win the divisional matchup record, okay? They win that. I think it's possible. I think you're sleeping on haters going to hate, you know? Haters going to hate.
I ain't hating. I just think you're a little over the top.
You want to see them burn in hell, damn it.
I actually don't. Geno was with the Jets organization for quite some time.
Do you see what I just did, though? That was the 180 of what you do to me every time I don't have Austin Eckler 2 spots higher.
No, that's not the same thing. Definitely the same thing, right, George?
Almost. Sure, yeah.
It definitely is. But, hey, Cage My IQ, keep your eyes peeled for Uchenna and Wosu and Darrell Taylor. I'm telling you, man, they are a special, potentially special bunch, bro.
Darrell Taylor, I definitely agree with for sure. Yeah, Bobby Wagner coming in makes sense too.
Yeah. Let's get to the second half, and then in the next 15 minutes, we're going to need to get off for the next show to come on. We'll go over to TBQ Sports, folks, on our YouTube channel. We'll wrap this show up, okay? But that's the heavy stuff. That's the lengthy stuff out of the way. So now you know what we feel about the NFC West. I've got 2 teams coming out of this division. My 2 playoff teams, the Seahawks and the 49ers. You guys have how many teams coming out for the playoffs?
Of the division?
2.
Yeah. 2 each? So
yes.
Both Seahawks and 49ers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
So we both have same number of playoff teams, same playoff teams too. What's more likely to happen? GenoSmith one-ups his comeback season with an MVP this year, or Kyler Murray takes a sabbatical playing the new Call of Duty game. I'm kidding. CooperKupp leads the league in receiving yards this upcoming season. Which one do you choose? You know,
they're calling you CM Punk Jr. in the chat.
Is that a good thing? I
was about to say you might want to ask them that. I don't know if I'm the
CM Punk's a great wrestler, but
hey. So that's all I need. I'm great. Okay, greatness. That's how I'm going to interpret that. Sure. You can't change my interpretation of that.
They're basically saying I'll drink alcohol too, though. So
I'm actually I'm a sober sister out there. I'm a sober.
And there we have it, folks. And there we have it.
I don't drink much alcohol. I do it socially, but like I'm so busy with work, man. My social life's like it's a fucking shit show right now.
I don't.
You know? It's crazy. What do you guys say though? Let's start with you, Nick, on this question.
Like this.
Let's see. So we're asking if we got a guy in CooperKupp who we know got injured last year. Yep. Might be coming into the season a little hobbled, maybe. Who knows? And then we have
clean the fifth. Okay?
We have a guy named Geno who was spectacular last year with completion percentage. He's a do-it-all type of guy. But ultimately, I'm going to plead no kidding. I got CooperKupp. CooperKupp, I think, is more likely to lead the league in receiving yards than Geno is to make the comeback. Look, Geno already had his comeback season. He won. He was comeback player of the year with CMC. Yeah. So
no, I mean, well, I'm saying one up that season, that comeback year with an MVP.
I'm getting into that, man. Anyhow,
relax, David. Calm down.
Show.
Okay. My bad.
Austin Eckler, baby. Okay.
Cool.
Folks, that'll do it for us here on TBQ. I will not let this man derail another show, damn it.
Hijacking.
If we say Phillip Rivers 3 times, he'll appear.
But going back to CooperKupp and going back to the year in which he had an explosion in 2021, 1,900 receiving yards. 1,900 receiving yards, 141 catches on 16 touchdowns. Now, we knew Stafford and Kupp was special coming into that year, but remember, people were still telling Robert Woods that year before he went off. That being said, I think CooperKupp has all the ability. He's not going to have much receivers around him per se in the beginning of the year to really take usage away from him. And we know the Stafford-Kupp connection, like you just talked about, is up there in the league when it comes to them both being healthy. So this, for me, even with CooperKupp may not even having Stafford, it ultimately can still be Kupp's year to lead the league receiving yards. I get there's so many other plethora of receivers out there.
What about your boy Chase?
I just don't think. I know. I just don't think that Geno can, be a finalist when it comes to MVP. Because with MVP, you got to look at what MVPs have done in the past. MVPs, for the most part, are either they're gonna have to be really elite in one way or another. If we go even back to Lamar Jackson's MVP year, he had 1,300 rushing yards. Patrick Mahomes. Is he going to throw to almost 50 touchdowns for GenoSmith? You just got to think about these other things in which he could be, the MVP. You have to be top notch in something. Passing yards, rushing touchdowns, rushing yards, something, in order to get even in the top 3. You tell me he's going to beat out Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes or, these other guys? I just don't see it. We just talked about it earlier with Geno's statistics. Is he going to be a 5,000-yard thrower? Because that's one of the criteria you're going to have to be in order to really be an MVP overall. So that's where, again, I think it's the easier road. It's CooperKupp because we've seen him do it before, and we know he's that elite. It's GenoSmith off of one season in which, again, like he had this renaissance year. I'm not saying he won't do that again. It's more of the likelihood of winning MVP amongst everybody else in the league. When you have a tough AFC with a bunch of quarterbacks in general that are kind of almost in the same boat as Geno in some cases or not, have redemption on their mind, I just don't see Geno out-producing some of these other quarterbacks. That's all that is to it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, let's go to George. Let's go.
I was about to say, Nick took my whole point because that's what I always do whenever
I'm like
bring up one of
right
these
now,
whenever you guys bring up these hypotheticals. It's like, well, yeah, which one do I think is like what is easier for one of these players to do? And for me, even though I don't like with Stafford, based on his injury last year and based on the way he played last year, I don't think he'll ever regain the same level of arm strength that he has in the past. I mean, I think that time is beyond.
That's
him.
what I'm talking about, Courtney.
Cooper.
I was about to say,
girl in the chat, yo.
Who's Cooper? No, I'm kidding.
Yankee fan out here. Let's go.
I'm with Nick on this one. Even though I love Geno,
David.
I love Geno. I love his surrounding cast. I love his receiving core. Like, thing is, like, if I'm looking at, and I talked about this when I predicted the Rams to be third and not get that many wins. Their receiving core is like, it's bone dry. It's thin. Realistically, they're going to have to try and funnel targets to one man, and his name is CooperKupp. And of course, all of this is predicated that these guys stay healthy the whole season. Yeah, of course. I mean, seeing as that seems like that's David's MO is even I'm gonna say it.
What's my MO? You said
predicating everything based on these players' health.
It's not everything. It's just like what? No, but like because the
I'm making a specific reference here. I'm making a very specific
predicating everything.
I get it.
Nick is with me.
I'm sorry, I'm a little out of it. Wait,
with running backs,
bro.
Oh, with running backs, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
he still doesn't get
it. It's still here, buddy.
It's okay, bro.
What did I say about running backs and health? What did I say about that?
Tyler Algier. I'm just gonna say it. The Tyler Algier thing.
Sorry. Well, it's I'm sorry. I got to keep up with the Josh Jacobs dilemma, the Austin Eckler dilemma, the Tyler. Like it's just everything.
See, no.
Nick is exhausting.
Here's the thing with all three of those things that you just said.
Yeah.
All of those are from Nick. None of those are from me. I did nothing wrong.
Okay, I've said that George is the therapist of he'd be my therapist if anyone. Okay, no doubt about that. Okay, Nick is the polar opposite of that. There is no way Nick will ever get his therapeutic license because he would just be like,
I can give you sound life advice.
because
Not like good life lessons, though.
But not like good life.
he'll get into an NFL conversation and he'll be the one screaming at them for not agreeing on. If they don't have Austin Eckler at a certain ranking, and they'll be like, "Dude, like, aren't you supposed to?"
I came here for help.
You fucking disrespected Austin Eckler. You know,
Yeah.
like it's
You are because of the criteria, but we won't go there tonight.
No, I was about to say.
Continue, George.
Yes, for this for this topic, for these two options I've got, I'm going with CooperKupp. I just feel like there is a lot more opportunity. Courtney is not good. I mean, come on. We got to stick with our boy Good Life Lessons if he's out there in the ether listening, and I hope he is.
This is how we'll know if he appears in the chat. We'll just hear this. That audible sound will come out in the chat. When
we just have a siren. Like, we just set up a...
He's getting out of his cell. He's coming in, and he's like,
"Are you assuming that this man is in jail? Like,
do you accept this chat from inmate 7954321? You know,
you have a collect call from
That's awful.
Good Life Lessons Penitentiary.
Yeah.
Do you accept the charges?
He's in his own prison. You know?
It's his own mind. He has too many life lessons to give us.
Yes.
And they're all good.
That's fucking deep right there, George.
Yeah,
Sorry,
stop getting
on
a guy good life lessons. I ain't ready.
No, he's an interesting fella. Let's go with that.
He sure is.
To each their own.
Says the man that liked the Washington Red. I won't say the Red.
Let's. Our just your average Dan Snyder supporter.
I think I actually still have a Washington Redskins RG3 jersey.
Oh, he said it. You're not supposed to say it.
Well, I mean, he didn't play for the Commanders.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
No, you know what? He on a similar topic like that, like
shame.
Is there, and I'm actually asking this from a different perspective in a sense. If we're talking about a player who played for that franchise before they changed names, is it okay to talk about it pre-name change? My example, listening to Mookie Betts talk to Francisco Lindor on his podcast.
Yeah.
They were talking about Lindor back when he played in Cleveland. And Lindor said, yes!
Oh, my God.
Clip.
We summoned him. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, the MVP of the chat, it's Good Life Lessons. That will be forever your introduction to our chat. Every time you appear in the chat, we are going to play that. And just so it's all out of love, but we are going to play that.
No, but I feel like that's a good point. And Lindor made a good point because they were talking about something he did when he was playing for Cleveland for that
Can you put that down again, please? That'd be great. You gotta play it.
Run it. There you go.
Oh God!
Is that something like if we're talking about Joe Theismann, we're not going to say, "Oh yeah, he played for the Commanders."
I wonder how he feels.
Oh, and that dude does not like the name change at all. He wants to go retro with it.
I bet
with the racist old name. You know.
I wonder how he feels about Dan Snyder being.
Oh, I think
Dan
he's
Snyder,
like, fuck
jail.
that guy.
Throw him in jail.
Fuck that guy. Fuck dipshit Dan.
I love
man,
how they're forcing him to sell the team, and at the same time they're like, by the way, you have to give us $100 million out of that based on what the government is selling.
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit. We'll save that for the next question. But do you have anything else
for this
one?
Ouch. Just for this one, I'm going to go with CooperKupp. I feel like the path is a little bit clearer. That is the path more traveled, a little clearer.
Yankees 3-1, let's go.
God damn it, universe. Can you help a boy out here? 4 World Series titles is not enough as a Red Sox.
Nope.
The USA is still trailing, and it's almost halftime. I'm getting concerned.
In the last 20 years, by the way.
I'm getting concerned.
27.
Well, no, 20 since 2004. 2004, 2007, 2013.
I am actively watching the soccer game at the
moment. Let me get into mine real quick.
For America, baby.
America, baby. Yeah. Let's, between these two, listen, I love CooperKupp. I think he's an elite wide receiver, but I think high ankle sprain.
There's a butt, folks.
There is a big butt. There's a big.
Whoa, there's a big butt.
There's some badonkadonk.
I didn't think Sexy Dexy was here.
Now, like that kid, I'm obliged to that kid's request. When he sent me that DM and he said, "Don't just stop. Okay, gritting his teeth and everything. I was like, okay, kid, I'll oblige your request.
The more you keep saying kid and DM, the more I'm really hoping Aaron just pops in chat and just like rips you.
Or like I said, or
Aaron, out there?
Or Chris
The
Hansen.
problem with that, though, is that I have the transcript of your online chat.
Lord.
He says it's
Anytime I hear Chris Hansen now, I just think about the South Park episode.
Or
I think of the Boondocks episode.
baby.
The Boondocks episode too, but
That's a good one.
Chris
South Park
Hansen.
was the one I was thinking about first.
Oh, wait. Is David?
Am I frozen?
No.
You were for a hot second there, yeah.
Oh, it was?
you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't be a bitch, Comcast. Don't be a bitch, okay? You know?
Impossible challenge.
So who has the prettiest deep ball in the league right now?
Me.
I'm going to tell you, the prettiest deep ball is GenoSmith. He's got the prettiest deep ball. The prettiest. I won't say necessarily the best. I think there are other guys like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers maybe, or Mahomes, either one of those. Probably one of those two. But the prettiest, the most pristine, like he's getting something with it, man. And the stats fucking showed. He was 69.8% completion, which led the league. Obviously, we went through the stats 30 to 11.
But even,
TD to interception ratio.
even with that, you really think that's good enough for MVP?
Listen to these stats that he could build upon. Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
5th in deep ball completion last year, 5th in pressure completion, 3rd in play action completion, 3rd in clean pocket completion, 3rd in completion versus man, and 8th in passer rating versus zone. And he was clutch, and he was mobile. Absolutely, when they're adding to the offense with Zach Charbonnet, with Jackson Smith and Chico, that benefits Geno. That benefits Geno in my eyes. So I'm very high.
The 3rd and highest turnover worthy play percentage.
You're right about that, and I'm about to get to that. That second half of the season was a great point that you brought up. I was wondering if you were going down that rabbit hole, and I don't blame you for that, okay? Second half of the season, he had 7 INTs in his final 7 games, all right? That's not good.
That's your MVP?
It's not good, but I think this is where it gets better. This is the Rich Gannon, the next Rich Gannon, Remember that stretch when Rich Gannon?
Good Lord.
I know, isn't that a hell of a reference?
That's a heck of a reference.
I know. 4 straight years. Remember, he was playing with the Chiefs. He was playing with the Vikings.
Yep. Yeah.
It was bad, but he went to the Raiders, man. And it was like, is this the same fucking dude? Or is Joe Montana putting on a Raiders helmet over here? It's insane.
It's true.
I think this could be Geno's renaissance. This period. Yeah.
That's interesting. Man.
He could be the next Rich Gannon. He's going to build on this,
That's old. That's old even for you.
I know. I feel fucking ancient. I feel like Dusty.
Wow.
O-line is going to get better. Like I said, with the tackle duo and Damian Lewis. I talked about the receiving core. I think, honestly, it's more likely to happen because, listen, Cooper is special, okay? He can run any route in the route tree because he knows how to position himself. He knows how to find the soft spot in zone and position himself within man. But, I think coming off, for context, with a high ankle injury, okay, high ankle sprain, you're usually out to about a month to maybe 6 weeks. Some guys, if you're fucking crazy athletic and you're just a fucking workhorse of workhorses like Brandon Marshall was, you play through that shit, And I'm not going to shame anyone to, into playing through that. Absolutely not. Value your health, value all that shit, Is
Right.
Coop here? I don't know where Coop is.
No.
I
think you meant Cup.
Sorry. I think of, I don't call him Coop. I
know.
we
think of.
Yeah.
I don't think you're talking about.
So I'm tired right now. Sorry. I know it doesn't show though. But
should have done a dummy thing.
I know, right? I should have. I'll fucking just down this whole thing if I have to get my
Dry scoop it on camera. That's not. Never mind.
That's what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna be able to swallow that. Are you kidding me?
That's not what dry scooping.
Well, you just said scoop it out.
Yeah.
No,
dry scoop. You take out a full dry scoop and then you wash it down with water.
Oh, I think you meant without the water.
No.
I was like, that's barbaric, dude.
Hey,
I might die on the
Also-
show.
Also, for everyone,
hey, give us views, though.
do not do that. Dry scooping is bad for you. Don't do that.
Hey, we're the weird ones. I love your guys' stuff, man. I love your
the
camera
weird
setup.
ones.
We are the weird. Oh, absolutely. You're right in the right fucking wheelhouse.
Definitely your collab.
Right in the right wheelhouse. This is your sanctuary right here. We're the weird ones because we're also fucking.
Call me a Martian.
But no, I think honestly, Kupp special, okay? Up until the 9th game last year that he got injured, and this is with Matt Stafford going down, and he's been injured. His arm looks like a fucking noodle. He's still averaging 9 catches for 101 yards and on pace for 13 touchdowns. He was about balling the fuck out.
Right.
But coming off of surgery from a high ankle sprain, that's where I'm nervous about him leading the league. With surgery.
Time out. Why?
What's this?
Why ultimately?
Because it's surgery. You don't play around with surgery.
Yeah.
You don't play around with surgery.
But that's just like saying you're concerned about Tony Pollard coming off a broken leg.
Tony Pollard? No, because Pollard played healthy last year, and when did he have that's a distant injury, with Tony Pollard.
He broke his leg last year.
Oh yeah, that he did. I'm drawing a blank. That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
So I'm here.
That's right.
But I would, in a sense, like when you have a broken leg, like obviously depends on where you chip the bone at. But I think ultimately I'd be a little bit more.
That's worse. No doubt that's worse
than a high ankle sprain. Ultimately, like he had the surgery because the Rams weren't doing anything. So he's like, all right, let me get ahead of this.
No, but high ankle sprains generally don't result in, if memory serves me correctly, they generally don't result in surgery, And so it was that bad that because remember, this is a guy who played he played how many games? It was 9 games, right? Yeah. You do not, that's 8+ weeks. That's a lot longer than a high ankle sprain keeps you out, And I know that it's a lost season, so you're not wrong about that.
Right.
But I think he would have come back nonetheless, especially just to get going and to get himself back into rhythm. Thank you so much. We're the weird ones. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what y'all are doing, too. Y'all are fucking murdering it out there, man. I love it. I love you guys' stuff.
Literally.
Same.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't be, Aaron
don't be that
Dennis's
weird.
wife.
Don't.
Yo.
I'm kidding.
Why did you drop the full legal name? Jeez.
Right?
Well, that's his name. Everyone knows his name. He has his name in
I know
chat.
it's on his Twitter. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. With Aaron with that one, obviously. Aaron's the one who started this joke.
Yeah, sure he did.
No, but no, I think honestly, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I just think because of the surgery, I think he'll still have a very good year. I just don't see leading the league. I think guys like Jamar Chase, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Calvin Ridley, even Tyreek Hill. These are guys who could lead the league more so than him this upcoming season because of that injury, And the other question marks with the Rams that you had, Nick,
Yeah, I mean, it's just the injury doesn't, to me, because if it's not an ACL, to me, it's something that it doesn't really move the needle that much for me when it comes to a high ankle sprain. I know the reason why he didn't play after it because again the Rams weren't doing anything, and Stafford and Donald, like we talked about, were already out then too. By the time he would have had that surgery done anyway. Talk about him maybe playing the last 2 games for what? So it makes no sense for him to return. But all that time, man, it was only a high ankle sprain. Like I'm not concerned about that whatsoever. I think
that's fair enough.
Like I said, if it was the ACL, that'd be different. And if it was if you tore more ligaments with the ACL injury, like some other guys that did that last year, oh boy. So I think with CooperKupp and the way he plays, it's not like he's a outside receiver. He's going to play the slot. He's going to play in.
Yeah.
He's going to.
They move him all over, I feel like,
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not concerned about the injury. I'm just more. The only thing I would say I might be concerned about with Kupp is the Rams, if he doesn't play wholeheartedly all these games this season. Like if the Rams fall behind in the schedule and then they're like, all right, well, let's get ready for next year. We'll probably have, Bennett come out and play some games or whatever. And then Cooper won't get his full run of the games to have an opportunity to lead the league in receiving yards. But I don't necessarily seeing that happen. But ultimately, that's probably the one concern I could say with him in this conversation.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to hop off this channel and hop over to TBQ Sports. So go follow the rest of the show on our channel at TBQ Sports on YouTube, okay?
Good luck, guys. We'll be over there too.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys in a little bit.